Okay, so let's have a little educational episode today. So, not all breedings turn out to be successful. What you're looking at here is what we call slugs, which are basically, I believe, infertile ovas that were laid by Annie. So, Annie was paired up to my Moonglow IMG, and this is very unfortunate because the other pairing was with an albino, so not like it's hard to tell for sure which ones are IMG or not. So this would have been a IMG Moonglow to an Anery Motley, so I would have had a ton of IMG Anerys, IMG Motleys, which are basically the blackest boas that we could get, but it would also be easy for me to identify the IMGs. But anyways, so one of the biggest difference between pythons and boas is that boas give birth to live. So as you can see, she had these infertile ovas, slugs, and a couple babies that were born too early, so they weren't really dead at the moment. So you'll see in a bit, I carefully tried to take them out, put them in the incubator, and see if we can get them to work. I also wasn't sure if she had more because as you look at her, it looks like she's up to something. So I thought she might be laying some more babies or slugs. And another thing that happens is infertile ovas are harder for a boa to pass than live babies. So this is a little bit harsher on Annie's body. So I had to keep an eye on her, and basically for hours she moved around. I'm going to take the babies and put them in the incubator. I wet my hands first so that I don't stick to them. So as you can see, I'm trying to be super duper careful with them because who knows, maybe they'd be able to make it, but unfortunately all the care and gentleness didn't really make a difference. They ended up way too premature or underdeveloped. So this kind of thing can end up happening for a few different reasons. Perhaps the male wasn't able to inseminate her properly, or wasn't fertile. I don't even know if what I just said made sense. But it may have had something to do with her. But it's strange because she had her last litter, she had 16 babies, and it was a good healthy litter. So she has produced before, and it's been good. But this time it was just very unfortunate. It was probably the biggest downer that I've had this year, and I didn't post it because it was just like I just didn't want to even deal with it or think about it for a while. So it's been a while, and now we can talk about things kind of clearly. But breeding snakes is not my source of income, really. If you know me or have been around, you know that I have a hair salon. So that's basically how I make my living, and then snakes has always been a hobby. And during times like these, I'm especially grateful that it is more of a hobby than a business. Because if this happened to someone who put their money into a project and is planning on something like this to give them a decent amount of income and take care of them for the year, stuff like this happens and it can just totally wreck you, and then it's very easy to ruin your mood. And I don't know, for me, if you're into breeding animals, dealing with animals, it's important to keep that love. It's important to keep kind of the animals first and the business second. But if all you're doing is relying on them for that, I could see how easily it could turn into greed, and something like this could just kind of ruin you, because you put so much time into projects. Sometimes you put 3-4 years into raising a snake, and then if something goes wrong, it really affects you. So I am really glad that it is a hobby, because as much as it sucks, it didn't affect me too much, and I'm just very glad that Annie is okay, and she's a special animal to me. She's one of the unique ones that kind of comes out and checks out on you and says like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And no, she doesn't talk to me, but she comes out, she checks you out. Almost every time I'll open up her drawer, she'll come out and crawl on me, and we have a good relationship. So I'm just glad, like, even though it would have been really nice to have a litter, I'm just happy that she's healthy. Now, for the two babies that came out and ended up dying within like 24 hours, this is what they looked like, which was really cool. They have like these blue eyes, they look like ghosts. I don't know if that's just because they're undeveloped, because color is the last thing that shows up on a snake. So if a snake basically comes out really early, sometimes they won't have color because it hasn't developed, but usually everything develops, and then in the last part of the process they develop these patterns, and these snakes were like just really crazy looking. So if they would have came out and been like lived and looked like this, I would have been super happy. So just to see that is hard too, because it's just like, wow, look at this animal, it looks so cool. That could have been mine. I could have had some of these, but it didn't end up working out. So we have good old Pearl, and nothing goes to waste. So as you can see, I'm going to feed them off to Pearl, and here we go. Pearl's very funny because lots of Cribos I've heard like go and attack their food, but with her, like, she hides. She's a little bit of a shy one. Well, I hope you found that informative and maybe learned something. If it's your first time here, consider subscribing to learn about reptiles and have some fun with us. Sometimes we have some really fun, exciting episodes. Sometimes we have downer ones like this. If you want to see what it was like for me to go through a normal, healthy litter of boas, click on that first video and you will see what the normal process is like when they aren't infertile and we get some nice babies. Otherwise, click the second video and watch whatever YouTube says you'll enjoy from my channel. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one, enjoy yourself, and stay safe.